Nkechi had always been known as the beautiful and charming wife of Chidi, a successful businessman in their bustling town Lagos. On the surface, they seemed like the perfect couple, but beneath the veneer lay a brewing storm. For years, Nkechi had grown weary of her husband's numerous business commitments that kept him away from home. The long nights alone turned into days of loneliness and resentment. Enter Ifeanyi, Chidi's best friend and trusted business partner. He was charismatic, just as handsome as Chidi, but with a magnetic charm that drew people in. Nkechi had always found his attention flattering, but as her marriage became increasingly strained, that attention grew into something more. They began sharing secrets and innuendos, and soon their late-night conversations turned into a dangerous affair. In the heat of their passion, a sinister plan began to take shape. Ifeanyi had long been envious of Chidi's success and wealth. After a few drinks one evening, he casually suggested that if Chidi were out of the way, they could claim his properties together. Nkechi, fueled by her own frustrations and desires, found herself nodding in agreement. The thrill of such a plan sent chills down her spine, but the excitement of a new life beckoned. As the weeks slipped by, they devised a meticulous plan. They decided to stage a robbery gone wrong. Nkechi would be the distraught wife who had just been a bystander in a crime that took her husband's life. Ifeanyi would be the loyal friend who would help her pick up the pieces. The night arrived, cloaked in an inky darkness that felt oddly comforting to Nkechi. She watched as Chidi settled into bed, oblivious to the machinations taking place around him. Her heart raced as she thought of their marriage, the man who had become a stranger and the future she yearned for. As planned, Ifeanyi quietly entered their home, dressed in all black, his face covered with a mask. Nkechi's heart pounded as she took a deep breath, her palms sweaty. When Ifeanyi reached Chidi's side, the struggle commenced. The commotion escalated, and in a flurry of violence and chaos, Chidi's life was extinguished with a silent flicker. Nkechi screamed, a raw sound of shock and despair that echoed through the house. She rushed into the room, feigning horror at the sight of her husband's lifeless body. Ifeanyi played his role perfectly, helping her call the police and acting like a supportive friend in the wake of tragedy. In the days that followed, the investigation unfolded. While the local police were initially sympathetic to Nkechi, a grieving widow who had lost her husband so suddenly, they were also thorough. The community rallied around her, providing love and support, but whispers began to grow as certain details of the case began to unravel. Nkechi and Ifeanyi, despite their careful planning, were drawn into a web of lies that began to fray. A neighbor had seen Ifeanyi's car parked outside their home on the night of the murder. Suspicion turned into investigation. The police began to piece together the movements of everyone involved, examining phone records and surveillance footage. As the evidence mounted against them, Nkechi found herself in a precarious situation. The thrill of her initial plan faded as the weight of her actions bore down on her. Guilt flooded her heart, but the fear of losing everything she had conspired to gain was more potent. In one fateful twist, the pressure of the investigation tore through their alliance. Ifeanyi, realizing he was cornered, attempted to cut a deal with the authorities, offering to turn state's witness in exchange for a lighter sentence. In a moment of betrayal that shook the very foundation of Nkechi's world, he revealed their conspiratorial affair and laid bare the deceit behind Chidi's murder. The ultimate consequences came crashing down on Nkechi. She was arrested, her dreams of wealth and freedom shattered. As she sat in the cold, sterile jail cell, she reflected on the choices that had led to her demise. The glories of a life built on betrayal felt hollow, and the truth of her actions haunted her. One life lost, one marriage destroyed, and a future forever altered by greed and deceit. Too late that the price of ambition, when steeped in malice, was far too dear.